Okay, so this is the same worksheet, mole bridge, part 2. This is question 2. I'm going to show you how to balance, and then we'll do a problem. So in looking at this one, what you have is a similar equation to the one before, so it's a combustion reaction. I always want to balance the hydrogens first. So in looking at it, I have 2 hydrogens, and I have 2 hydrogens. So my hydrogens are good. You next can look at the carbons. You have 2 carbons, you only have 1 carbon, so I got to put a 2 right here. Okay, now I can look at my oxygens. I have 1 oxygen, and then I have 2 times 2, bringing the total to 4. So I have 4 plus 1, so actually my total is 5 rather, sorry. So then over here, what times 2 equals 5? Well, it's not going to be a whole number. So that means I kind of have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what I'm going to do here. So in doing this, I'm going to add a 2 to kind of push the number up. So maybe my oxygen amount will change. So now I have 4 hydrogens. So I go back over here. I only have 2. So I want to turn this to a 4. So I put a 2 right here because 2 times 2 equals 4. Okay? Now for my carbons, I have 4 carbons. So I got to change this 2 into a 4. So we erase. We write in a 4. Okay, now we're looking at our oxygen. So now I have 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 2 times 1, which is 2. So 2 plus 8 is 10. And I can turn this into 10 oxygens by putting a 5 right here, because 5 times 2 equals 10. So now I've balanced my equation. Okay, so the problem that we've selected for you guys to kind of check to see if you're doing it right is D, so the mass of water produced. So the number that you start with is the number that's provided in the problem, which up here is 0.775 moles of CO2 produced. So that's the number we're going to start with for this problem. So it's 0.775 moles of CO2. Okay, and you do your times, goes into. Okay, so I'm going to drop this label down. Moles of CO2. Okay, and right off the bat you're at your mole bridge, so you got to go from moles of CO2 to moles of what you're going to, which is the mass of water. So mole of H2O. Okay, in finding the moles, or the numbers here for this conversion, you look at your coefficients. So the moles of H2O are 2. The moles of CO2 are 4, so I put a 4 right here. Okay, my label cancels, and I do another times, goes into. Okay, I'm dropping moles of H2O down. Okay, and I want to go to grams of H2O. Okay, now this is the molar mass question, so it's always 1 mole is going to equal whatever your gram amount is. And for H2O, you have hydrogens and you have oxygens. Okay, you have 2 hydrogens and you have 1 oxygen. And the molar mass for hydrogen is 1.01. For oxygen, it's 16.00. So 2 times 1.01 is 2.02. 1 times 16 is 16. You add those 2 numbers up, and you get 18.02. Okay, and this is grams per mole. So I plug that number in. My labels cancel, and whatever this value equals is now my answer. Okay, so this is your setup. You guys do the math.